Delaware in the building. Y'all ain't ready for the Delaware takeover. Y'all not ready for this unique style and creativity that everybody in the world wants to see. Nas and Jay is bringing it, and everything they bring got that Delaware swag.
Hey everybody!
Hey everybody!
Happy Monday.
It is Monday.
As always when we do our live show.
Yeah, I know. I'm having a Monday moment.
Yeah.
Welcome to your morning sip of local news, what's happening, and
real world mess.
You know what? You deserve some flowers for that because you're finally getting it. You're finally holding on to it and owning it. That's your line. Make sure you listen to the replay of this episode on WJBSradio.com, Delaware's own Grown Folks Radio. We'll be on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And that's owned by my pod. So yeah, WJBS Radio. Get the app, go to your app store and download the app, and you can listen for free. Temperature check. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm rested. It's perfect outside. And I don't have an insane week this week, so I'm pretty even Steven right now. I'm good. I'm actually looking forward to this week. It gets crazy after that again, which is a good thing for paying my bills. So I'm pretty even. How about you?
I'm good. I think I'm recovered fully from my body, at least from Clifford Brown. This week is a little wonky because 4th of July.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out, how we're going to work that out.
I should say, and I'll put it on my page too, this is not a rant, enjoy 4th of July as you see fit, but really everyone needs to be very cognizant of fireworks because veterans with PTSD and pets hate them. So have your fun, but
and so does Jay.
I can't stand them. But have your fun, but try to be responsible and maybe shut it down at a certain point, like maybe before midnight, so that everyone isn't going nuts all week. Yeah. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. What are we going to talk about today?
What do you mean?
What are we talking about today?
Oh, well, so we're definitely going to be talking about Black jobs. We're definitely going to be talking about the BET Awards, CHAMA. And if you don't know who that is, he's pretty much become the face of the UFC at this point to an extent. So we have plenty to talk about, plus flowers and all those good things.
Okay. Yeah. Flowers to our girl, Nataki.
As always.
This past weekend, she did the DCAD art sale, a gallery art sale.
Student art sale.
Yeah. And we got to have conversations with two of the artists, one of which, Julie Burb, who is anonymous in how she looks, I guess. So if you go back on our page, you can see her holding up a self-portrait of herself. You will not actually see her. Yeah,
it's funny because it's a cool self-portrait, but it actually kind of doesn't look like her.
Right.
So
it's perfect.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated her drive, and her ambition. And I love when I see young people like that because it gives me hope that we have people who see the problems and actually want to fix it for the people and not for selfish reasons. So
yeah, artists tend to be rebellious, and I think that's one of the fundamental qualities that I like about artists. And she's got that little fire. She's a tiny little spitfire.
Oh my gosh, she is.
And I'm excited to see what she's able to accomplish with her life because it seems to me that her future is bright. And it was a cool conversation.
Yeah. And then also flowers to Jamar from the library.
I mean, 2024 Delaware CEO of the year.
Wow.
It's so cool that the library is, number one, a place of real culture now in our city. That it does cool stuff because as a kid, for me, I never wanted to go to the library. So to consider, no, y'all don't really.
The library.
I say it over and over again that I really.
He was a bad boy.
Not just a bad boy. I'm fundamentally a meathead. I'm an evolved meathead, and I have no problem saying that. I wasn't into art. I wasn't into books. I was into sports and video games. It's pretty much it. And as we digress quickly, it's really, really cool to see a library surrounded or attached to so many different things that you wouldn't normally attach to a library, but it should. You don't even think about the idea of someone running the library as being an actual CEO, but duh, when you hear it back, of course, they have a giant job. So, you know, I could say more, but flowers to Jamar and everyone at the library for really revolutionizing what a library is and can be. So yeah, flowers.
You know, it's funny. You've been to libraries. We know there are tons of them. We know what the purpose of them are. But to know, like, to see them winning awards every single year, you know, and doing what they're doing, it's like, what is like the peak library or like the top dog library like goals, you know?
And I think that depends on the mission of the CEO. You know what I mean? It's all that's why leadership matters, because it could be completely different.
Yeah.
But he's really clearly making it an effort to be a hub of culture.
Yeah.
And to tie culture to education makes perfect sense when you say it.
Yeah.
And to literacy. But unless you have someone with real vision, it might not, it often doesn't go that way, because my previous perception of a library is just a boring, quiet place where nerds just kind of bury their head in a book and do things that I had no interest in. And there's a place for that, but it can be so much more. And I wonder, I don't know if I'm being honest with myself. I do wonder if libraries were more like Wilmington's library when I was 16 and 17, if I would have had more of an interest. I'm going to guess no. Because, again, I was peak meathead at that point.
Peak meat. I can't stand that term.
Well, that's kind of why I use it, because it's not necessarily a positive thing. Yeah.
It's horrible. It's a horrible thing.
Yeah.
Well, I also love, I have to say, I love how well-rounded it is. Like, library is, like, from all the events that they host, you know, it's just, I love that, where you can go and you can go see some princess mermaid event, and then you can go and
see a concert. You can see KRS-One. You know, and quietly read your
book. You know.
And quietly read your book about the dorkiest topic that you could imagine.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And get a jazz jam session, you know? So,
sorry. We have a quality issue. It's grainy.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know why either, but keep it going. There's nothing I can do right now. No one's using any internet, so I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we don't have all the facts for this. Going into, you know, what's going on around town. We don't have all the facts for this, but we know what we saw. Yesterday, a woman was arrested in Newcastle County. So they had the Newcastle County Police. It was 3 officers, 2 of which were men, 1 was a woman. And this was a Black woman. And the video that I saw, they were telling her to get on the ground. And she was like, I'm not getting on the ground. And they proceeded to beat her ass. And I mean, really beat her ass. And I mean, the woman cop, the female cop, was punching her in the head, back to back to back, and then sitting on her neck. So I understand that there are going to be people who are like, why was she resisting? Listen.
That's what doesn't matter.
My father was a cop. Y'all know this. And I've had many conversations with him about this. Many, many, many conversations. And the one thing that he says is sometimes you have to do, you know, there were times when, like, he would arrest people who were on drugs, who were super strong. But he said never did they ever have to punch people in the face, punch people in the head. It was, you know, you got to restrain them. And sometimes you might have to kick their leg to knock them down. He was like, we were trained specifically on how to de-escalate. Is that the word?
That's part of it, but that's just to get their kind of behavior to
to get them on the ground.
To calm down.
Subdue? I don't know the word.
Subdue would be restrained,
so restrained, right? Yeah. But never beat them up. Like, that was never a thing, and he doesn't understand that concept. So, regardless of what that woman did, when the video popped up, she was standing there, hands behind her back, and they just said get on the ground, and she just said no, and then they proceeded to beat her ass. So I'm really tired of seeing these things, but I think what really bothers me is that I now, and I really, I love this phrase, temperature check, because I've been temperature checking myself lately. And I realized that as of late, I have had a slight fear of being around police officers because I don't know what will provoke them to not only arrest me, but then if I am in a position where a cop is all up in my face and like is trying to arrest me or whatever, I know my rights. And I will say that I know my rights, but there are so many police officers who are disregarding that fact. That's what scares me, is that I can plain as day know my rights, know what they can and cannot do to me, what I can and cannot say, and they will completely disregard it. That is terrifying, completely terrifying. And just seeing her, seeing what they did to her was traumatizing. So I'm going to continue to follow the story to see, what the additional facts were, but it was really rough to watch.
When she sent me the video, I hesitated to watch it because I'm tired of seeing that. But I said to myself, you know what? You're lucky that it wasn't you, and you're lucky it wasn't someone that you know. So you kind of have a responsibility to watch it. From mine, that's how I feel about it. If you don't want to watch that kind of trauma, I totally understand. So to your dad's point and to your point, both. The first question, the first thought that I have is, you clearly see 3 grown men struggling to get the woman to physically do what they want her to do. And you see them all kind of grabbing and struggling, and then they finally, 3 grown men manage to halfway get her down, and then a female officer runs in and just starts wailing her in the face. Just that in and of itself, even if the woman was Satan herself and had said the worst things possible to those officers, had kicked at them, spit on them, it doesn't matter, because they have a job and training. And so what I fundamentally saw was, like, I don't understand why it was so difficult to physically get her where you wanted to be without all of that effort. To me, I see like really bad physical training, because I know for a fact, and mind you, I wrestled for 1 year in high school and in 7th and 8th grade, and I hated it. But I know just myself, number one, sort of fundamentals about how does someone get to the ground, how to get someone to the ground. And I know for a fact, people who are training like in jiu-jitsu, one person, a much smaller person, can easily manage that situation with some basic training. And to see 3 people, grown men, have to go through all of that effort to get a woman to the ground, it just fundamentally says, why does it take all that? And then, again, knowing nothing about what happened before or after, we all want to know what happened and what's going to happen. And this is why Leobor reform, because I guarantee you it's going to be hard to follow up, and for news reporters, like real reporters, to figure out all of the details. And that's a fundamental problem, because we pay for them. They work for us, and I mean that respectfully. So if we see something happening that is questionable, and that certainly was, it's really hard to find out what's actually going on. So it's another case in point, number one, of why, specifically in Delaware, that we need reform for the protection of our people, and honestly, for the protection of the officers, so that everyone understands the full story.
Yeah.
And at face value, again, it just looks horrible, because there's no way you can tell me, as someone who knows at least something about physical confrontation, that it required all of that to get her where they wanted her. Even if she was dead wrong, and she may have been dead right, we don't know, and that's part of the problem. But even if she was as wrong can be, and I don't think she was, quite frankly, it shouldn't take that kind of an effort to get someone to the ground and in handcuffs. I can say that very confidently.
Yeah.
And then to, on top of it, as they're getting her to the ground, to have a woman jump in and just start bang, bang, bang on her face, that is not the way. And mind you, again, from my end, I have spent a long time working with really difficult children. I've had ties chewed up. You know, I know what it is to be in a physically confrontational situation and want to tee off on somebody because you're angry and frustrated. And I will give credit, like I'm sure that police officers have to manage more than I do on a daily basis when I'm doing that kind of work, but I can empathize. And there's a place where you have to always keep it professional, and nothing about that interaction looked professional. It just looked like they were tugging and pulling and figuring it out. And it's like, if you're trained, it's like boom, boom, boom.
Right.
I've seen it, you know what I mean? And you can subdue someone safely. Like, I know jujitsu people specifically who could have been like 1, 2, 3, boom, got her locked up. Everyone's safe, everyone. And to have 4 people for 1 woman doesn't add up. Does not add up.
And not just that, they attacked her. Like it was like she was standing there. She wasn't fighting. She only started fighting when they tried to just like force her on the ground. What was the point of needing her on the ground when she's already up against the car?
Yeah, like she wasn't trying to run away. She couldn't go anywhere.
She was standing there.
Like,
her hands were out behind her back. She was up against the car. So why were
and maybe we don't know, but at face value, it doesn't look right. It doesn't look right. Like something doesn't look right.
Fundamentally, the punching in the face.
How is that not assault?
So the one thought that I had was maybe it took so long to get her down, in a sense, was because I think the most force was from the female cop. I feel like the men didn't want to harm her, so they weren't going as hard to get her down as quickly.
But like, okay, and I know I'm armchair quarterbacking. Like, I don't know what the situation was. Yeah, it's like I'm calling all the shots, just sitting back. You're not even doing the job. You don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, passenger seat driver.
Sure, you could call it that way.
Okay.
Like, if she's not trying to run away and isn't attacking anyone,
just sit her ass down.
I got 3 hours. It's like, listen, lady, you're not going anywhere. So as soon as you can sit down, we'll proceed, but you're not leaving, but I'm gonna sit here. But the idea that we're just gonna run, like, it was bad. It was bad, and I'm so tired of seeing it. And it's unconscionable to me that in Delaware, in a highly progressive state, it's really blue, that we can't get fundamental reform, not to like take anything away from officers, but to protect our people.
So real quick, for the people, we talk about labor a lot, and I feel like there are people who may have heard us talk about it but not know what it exactly is. It's the Law Enforcement Officer Bill of Rights, and basically it is what, like their constitution.
It's their constitution
of what their rights as officers, what their rights are, and we, the people, we want to amend it because right now in Delaware, and from what now fact check me, but from what I remember, is there's like a few other states like this where you cannot check the record of an officer.
Yeah.
Because of this one clause within Leobor. So we are only trying to amend it, not completely get rid of it, shut it down, none of that. Because
no one's saying defund the police, none of that.
We want to amend, which means correct, which means change. We want to amend that part where if an officer needs to be investigated, that the people, the civilians, can do an investigation, basically. I mean, I'm loosely giving you, what it is, but we are not able to do that. So there was an officer in Wilmington, and I don't know where he is now. He was actually convicted recently of planting evidence.
Right.
But he had a long history from civilian accounts of abuse, okay? And he finally was caught because he couldn't get away with it this time because it was blatant. But for years, he has been harassing people within Wilmington. But you know what? Nobody could actually factually say what he was doing. Or, there was no record because we could not obtain that. We weren't allowed. We couldn't do our own investigation. So we want to be able to have that right.
And I have to say this, and I mean this, and people can jump on me all they want. I value unions. Unions are necessary, but it's in as much as I am extremely pro teacher. It's a very similar situation with law enforcement in that the unions, it's too hard to let go and fire an officer who shouldn't be there. And for me, that's fundamentally where some change needs to take place, because you have people with just a track record of doing things that are highly questionable.
Yeah.
And it's like, bruh, this job ain't for you.
Yeah.
And if you think about other places of employment where if you do even like, not to go to the full extreme, but like in some jobs, and this is too far to the other direction, you know, if I make a Facebook post that's questionable, that makes somebody unhappy, I could lose my job. You know, so there's got to be some way to balance this out, whereas somebody who has a clear record, it doesn't take so much to get rid of them. You know what I mean? Like you got to be able to you got to be able to ethically fire people who aren't doing a good job and who aren't meant for the job.
Release them.
Yeah, man.
Let them go.
It's bad.
You want to be wild? Release them to the wild, because that was wild. What she did, what that female officer did. All three of them should be held accountable, but the female officer
just punching her in the face. Like, how do you?
In the face.
I can't. In as much as we don't know what happened there, I can't in my brain think of the scenario where that was appropriate. Like, oh yeah, no, I didn't know that happened beforehand, so she had to punch her in the face as she's going down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't put it together. A woman, 3 officers, the 3 males are getting her down.
It was 3 males? I thought it was 3 cops total.
Okay, so maybe 2 males. Maybe I'm missing it, but like
either way,
like
the woman was the problem.
Like, but the 2 men or 3, whatever it was, are clearly getting her down. You see her going down, and in comes the female officer from the left, like just bow, bow, bow. Like, that doesn't seem like protocol. But what do I know? Yeah.
Do you want to try and restart the live, because the quality hasn't changed?
Is it still?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. I wonder if it's just with you though, what you're seeing.
No, my mom.
Someone's complaining.
Yeah. Not complaining.
There's nothing I can do. There's really nothing I can do.
Sorry, guys. So what we'll do is we'll re-upload the audio with a still image.
Yeah.
And that way you can listen to it like a podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, also, I do want to say this before we move on. People keep talking about just comply, just comply. Yes, I do believe that when you are in a predicament where a police officer is telling you to do something, for me personally, I will do my best to
keep
comply.
talking. I'm gonna go check something.
Okay. Yeah. I will do my best to comply, because I know what I've seen. I know what I've heard. And I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that woman, unfortunately. So yes, you should comply. But then again, I also understand that I know my rights. And if I'm noticing that I'm telling you, officer, respectfully, I know my rights, and this is illegal what you're doing to me, and they start to wail on me, complying isn't going to get you nowhere. So we have to start holding these officers and these police offices or stations. We got to do something different, because when you do comply, you lose. When you don't comply, you lose. So I don't know. It seems like a continuous losing game.
That can be fixed, and that's the frustration.
Yeah. So, okay. What's going on around the world? Map that mess. So, you want to talk about this fight?
Yeah. There was a UFC bout Saturday night. The headliner was between Alex Pereira and Jiri Prochazka. I'm sure I just mispronounced his name. But Alex, his nickname is CHAMA. And he had a rematch against this guy that he knocked out previously. Went to light heavyweight. He came, so he's a Brazilian, traditionally fought, I think, at middleweight in Israel Adesanya's weight class. And he has bumped up. He's already a champion, or was a champion in that weight class. Now he's bumped up to light heavyweight and basically mauled this guy.
Mauled.
Yeah. So Alex has this left hook from hell, and he might have the most powerful punch in the UFC, even out punching like the heavy guys. And I think it was round 2. Long story short, what Alex is doing with his career is kind of unprecedented because he's been in the UFC for maybe 2 years and he's basically just wrecked everybody at some point in time. And as he's moving up in weight class, everyone's like, well, can he go higher and higher? And at this point, it's looking like he's going to start fighting as a heavyweight. And it's going to be really exciting to see him do that because he is just demolishing everyone at a really wide range of weights. And if he's able to be successful as a heavyweight and potentially become some kind of a champion, he will at that point have definitely done something unprecedented that no one else has been able to do. And he is now putting himself in an argument for sort of being a GOAT. John Jones, I think most people will tell you, maybe George St. Pierre are still, the Russian guy. I'm tripping right now. But he's putting himself in that space. And 2 more things about the fight specifically where he knocked out the guy this weekend. Everyone's worried about his left hook. And anyone knows that anyone who follows boxing or any kind of fighting sport understands that it's a game of chess and you're trying to set somebody up. It's not just swing hard and see if you hit somebody. Because the guy, he kept hitting him down low, and he's also worried about this. The guy wasn't looking for something that came unexpectedly, which was a left switch kick. It came out of nowhere and just clocked the guy. And it was beautiful and cool. And the other thing I want to add about what we're seeing from Alex now that's really cool from my end is he's not a grappler. And right now there's been a strong surge of grapplers like wrestlers and jiu-jitsu guys who have really been super dominant, like Makhachev. And because Alex is not a grappler, he's a striker at the highest level, the question is always, how is he going to manage a grappler as someone who really is not proficient at that? And he's figured out how to use his striking to blunt a lot of the grappling attacks, and it's really, really cool. So I can go into like full nerd detail. I'm trying to be careful right now to not lose interest, but like, one of the things that they'll teach you to do, and I'll stop here, is to sort of sprawl. If someone tries to shoot at you and grab your legs, you'll sprawl. And he can do that. But he found a way to use his jab to stick it really hard because he's so powerful. And that has been equally effective for him very recently at stopping a potential wrestling takedown. So this guy is doing some unprecedented things. He's moving up in weight class and getting better and better in a short amount of time. And it's really cool to see the UFC as a sport, or just a mixed martial arts as a sport, progress, because there's this back and forth between grapplers and strikers in terms of how to manage each other, because they're very different disciplines. And as these things sort of move forward and progress, it's really interesting to watch how individual fighters manage their skill set to maximize what they can do against someone who might have a completely opposite style of theirs. Yeah, if that makes any sense. But,
UFC is the one where you like it gets nasty, right?
Yeah, UFC is mixed martial arts, and that's basically, it's punching, elbows, knees, kicks, and the grappling is the biggest difference. So you can, you can choke somebody.
Isn't that Conor McGregor?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Conor McGregor is an MMA guy.
My body hurt thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. No, it's brutal.
Whew, I don't know how you watch that. I really don't.
There's a certain, so for me, great question, and I actually will admit.
I actually didn't ask you a question.
Okay, cool.
But I can. How do you watch that?
It's almost like watching an eagle or a lion take down its prey. It's wildly violent, but also beautiful. And as I get older, I'm becoming less and less violent, and my stomach does start to hurt a little bit more as I'm watching people get, brain injuries, and I'm like, dude, you need to retire. But at the same time, if you have ever trained in even a small amount, you have a deep appreciation for their training and skill set. It's very, they call it a martial art because it is an art, and it's the same process as an artist. You train and you train and you train, and then you're stuck in the moment to use the best of what your training can offer with your own unique skill set, and you throw it out there and hope it works. Yeah.
Whew. Well,
Yeah.
Everybody got their thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't even like paper cuts.
No, I don't either. And I've become less and less violent as time has gone on. But
When's the last time you trained?
It's been like with my actual coach, probably a couple of months. Yeah. Just because we haven't been able to. That's a whole different story. Because if I could train every day, I would. But yeah.
All right. So a couple days ago was the debate.
Speaking of people who should maybe not be fighting anymore, but
This is how I feel about the debate.
Getting right to it.
That's all my commentary. I feel like when you go to, picture it. Christiana Mall, 11 a.m.
Where is this going? Okay.
You're getting a smoothie. You're sitting in the food court. People watching. Mm-hmm. And to your right walks this old man who is carrying a tray of his McDonald's, because they say McDonald's. And he's got his apple pie and his cup of coffee, black. And he's walking, and he puts down his tray to pull out the seat, turns around to look for his hat, which is on his head, and then looks for his wallet, and then goes back up to the McDonald's line to reorder the food because he didn't realize that he ordered the food. Yes. Brings it back to the same table and sees that his tray is there. And then he's looking around for the person that's going to eat with him because he thought that. And ultimately, that's what we saw. Confusion. Senile confusion. I'm at a loss because what is happening in the big election, the country election, is the same thing that's happening in the small election. We have two choices that we are not particularly happy with, and we have to make a decision.
Yeah. My thoughts, these are all my opinion.
And that was all my opinion.
I need to be clear about this.
That was the loudest. I have no ears.
There is no circumstance under which I would ever vote for Donald Trump. Okay, let's put that out there first.
He gave us money during the pandemic when Rona was going wild. He gave us free money.
So
that wasn't enough for you?
No. And so just because I'm criticizing and I'm deeply concerned about Biden's mental state, when I criticize that, it's number one, not making fun of him.
No.
It's really seeing in the same way that it's like I see Kanye West is struggling psychologically. It's like it's obvious. Like this man is struggling to keep it together justifiably because he's under extreme stress and he's old. The same way that like if you see a 45-year-old boxer get in the ring and look slower and is taking punishment, it's like this isn't good for anyone.
Right.
And so when I say I wish that we had a different choice, it doesn't mean I'm going to vote for Trump. Right. It means that this is not a good choice. I know that we're stuck to an extent, but from me, it's general concern about an old person. Like we talk all the time about respecting your elders and protecting your elders. And to me, to a large extent, it seems like everyone's just throwing this guy out there to keep him moving so that everyone can sort of get their agenda passed. And it's like, there's no consideration. I know he wants to fight just like the fighters. Like Mike Tyson wants to get back in that ring because that's what he does. But it's like, Dad, maybe we're doing a little bit too much and we should just respectfully, like I'm not making fun of you for being old. It's like, maybe it's time to just enjoy the grandkids and, the rest of, and that's okay. And I'm going to say this and be done with it. The Black Jobs comment from Trump is indicative of someone who is 80 years old, who grew up at a time when there was segregation. He's used to that dynamic. He's coming from an extremely, relatively speaking, outdated way of thinking about life. And I can say that confidently because even as me, who's a whole lot younger than him, I recognize that some of my perspectives are somewhat outdated. To the point where I've been laughing to Naja saying, you realize that some of your millennial friends are also starting to sound outdated. to an extent relative to, say, Julie at DCAD, you know? And there's a spectrum and all perspectives matter. But when you have two people coming from a relatively ancient mindset of what class and race should be, when you have someone who still can't get it to their brain, like you can't say black jobs, like that's not even a thing anymore. Like I don't want for anyone who is black or a minority, when you hear that, there's no way that you don't go, oh, that's a racist old white dude.
That comment was exactly like the one that Kelly Osbourne did that got her removed from The View, where she says, if we stop Mexicans from coming in, who's going to clean your toilets, Donald Trump? Can we play? Actually, although we have our perspective, I do want to say there are black jobs that we do need to think about. And it's important that we uplift these specific jobs. So
did you send that to me?
Yes, I did.
Okay, let me.
Yes, it's very important that we uplift certain black jobs because there are some.
Okay, keep going.
There are some.
Have it there. Oh, here we go. You sent it to me there. Hold on 1 second.
And again, sorry for the quality. We don't know what's going on.
Is it still persisting?
It is still persisting. Let us know if the video is clear. I heard that the sound was fine, but the
I don't know
video
what that
itself is.
I have a solution long term, but all right, guys. So watch this video, and hopefully it works properly. I'm worried about the audio, honestly, but we'll see. I don't think there's any audio with it. Yeah, that's not. Yeah, sorry. But okay. Tell. Okay.
Go ahead.
So explain the point of what she was trying to say.
I don't know why this isn't working, but basically all the black jobs, the potato salad maker, the stove light operator, all those types of jobs, the griller at the cookout, but there are specific titles that we now need to give them because since he brought up black jobs, and we need to make sure that we are looking at the people with, we're uplifting those specific people. So yeah. those are our black jobs.
Give me, I don't quite get it.
You know, so the first one she talked about was a stove light operator.
Okay.
The stove light in the black kitchen. That's the
so she's being funny.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, cool. I get it. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm following. Yes. Okay.
Why
cool.
Does that not have to work
today?
Today of all days.
Well, you know, it's because I got to load it differently. I had to load it to here and then upload it. I can't play this directly from my phone.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
Either way, what you need to do is vote, period. Like, look up what you can, research all that you can, and just vote.
And I gotta be honest, as I'm making myself think about it, sometimes you have to make hard choices that you don't like, but you still have to choose.
Being an adult is constantly
and it starts
making
like
hard decisions.
No, and I'm being funny, but not funny. Sometimes I tell my kids, I was like, here are your two choices for dinner. And they're like, I don't like either of them. Okay, make a decision or I'll make it for you.
Yeah.
And it's the same dynamic. Like you still have to never lose your sense of I don't want to say autonomy, but like never stop using the power that you have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it does matter. I know I say it all the time and it matters more locally. Repeat, but it's true. So yeah.
Yeah. The BET Awards were last night. I just want to see if this picture will come up.
Yeah, no, that'll work.
I want to address this first.
Okay. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I want to address this first.
This
because
one?
This was
one? Okay.
This was extremely hold on, I'm gonna check see if it pops up.
It definitely pops up.
Okay. That photo was extremely concerning for me because that's Angela Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
Her baby,
is it? Oh, yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yes. Her baby father was killed. He was shot in his garage after an altercation.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Her ex-fiance, her child's father, was shot after an altercation and his body was found in a garage.
Oof.
So you think No amount of time passing would make this appropriate. None. You bring a whether it was a prop or whatever, it is a gun. Like what the hell is wrong with you? I just don't understand why that would be okay. Why that would be okay, knowing your history specifically. And then what is the point of it? What was the point of that?
So I'm being serious. I didn't see the award show, but like and I know you just asked the question literally, but was there a point?
No.
Like, it was just her with a gun?
Her with a gun, a studded gun.
Okay.
Now, if y'all know of something that I don't, because I didn't see anything, please correct me. But when I tell you, that was so disturbing to me to see that.
What's funny to me as someone who
yeah.
What's funny to me as someone who is reasonably comfortable with the firearm, I can see just based on how she's holding it that she
don't know what the hell she's doing.
She is wildly uncomfortable.
Which is even worse. Which is even worse.
Well, yeah, I don't know anything about it, but it's obvious that she doesn't know how to hold a firearm.
If you don't know how to hold a firearm, why are you holding a firearm? Or a firearm look like? If you don't know how to shoot it, why do you have it? If you're not gonna kill nobody with it, what you got it for?
Don't pull the thing out unless you plan to bang. Don't even bang unless you plan to hit something.
No.
Oh, sorry.
No, that was absolutely horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Then we had the Usher tribute, his Lifetime Achievement Award.
Anything on there?
No.
Okay.
His speech was bleeped out because he was cussing a whole lot.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Was he
He was going in.
Was he inebriated at all?
I'm sure he probably was, but
Usher went in like, what was he cussing about?
God only knows, because they bleeped everything out.
But what was it?
It was muted for most of the speech.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So,
okay.
But the tribute was all women with one man, Donald Glover.
Okay.
That was the tribute. The best one was Tiana Taylor, which is that. So the public's best one was Tiana Taylor and Victoria Monet's combination. That is not how I feel, but you know, I think it was a beautiful tribute. And anytime you give a tribute to someone who has been doing this for a long time and at the level that he's done it for so many decades, you know, kudos to them and to him. You also had Victoria Monet. She had her own series of songs, and her performance was beautiful. I think her grow up, because she's been glowing, but her grow up, because now everybody sees it, that it's amazing and beautiful to watch. Then you had the country stars, the Black country stars were showcased, which was beautiful because now they're getting the recognition that they so deserve, and on a platform for Black folk, which I love, because Black folk have been kind of shunned from country for some time, and now this is like really, we are in this. So I love that. And then I'm gonna end it with this.
I do love the fact that number one, Killer Mike got Album of the Year, I believe.
Okay.
And that Kendrick got Male Artist of the Year. So
I
do appreciate that.
Speaking of Kendrick, Taraji's intro of Not Like Us was so funny and on point, and I love the lyrics. It was really good.
I have a question or a thought that I haven't posted about that song specifically, and you can just give me your thoughts on it.
Okay.
I wonder, okay, the first thing is this, right? So, okay, everyone is an individual, right?
Okay.
So technically, I can always say that they ain't like us because we're totally unique. But like, now that everyone is using the song to say they're not like us.
They not like us.
Yeah. On one hand, that's totally accurate, but because everybody's using it, it's like, it's just kind of deads everything. Like, everyone is just the same then. And I have a theory, and I could be wrong, and I love the song, that it's going to become like a rap version of Don't Worry, Be Happy, because it's like so excessively used at this point. Like, it was a cultural moment, for sure. I love the song. It's layers upon layers upon layers. But I feel like it's one of those songs that's like actually gotten too big for itself to the point where it's like, yep, they're not like us. Like, yep, everyone's the same at that point. You get what I'm saying?
If you're tired, Jay, just say that.
I'm not, but it's really funny to me. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
It went from like this, like, you know, West Coast ultra disc, like LA, you know, hardcore, and it's just now like everyone is using it. Almost like
I think that was the point.
Almost like you know how the term woke used to be just a black term? You know what I'm saying?
Well, isn't that how it goes?
It does, but it's interesting to watch, you know. Yeah.
I know. I get it.
I remember, I don't know why I'm stuck here right now. I remember when I was in school, my roommate from Houston would talk about how in Houston, he'd be like, hey dog, in Houston, we raised the roof. And they would do it like this. And it was a very different thing. And then all of a sudden, like 6 years later, you saw everyone going, raise the roof. I raised the roof. It's a similar thing. Like it's a little cultural thing, and now it just went way too far.
Well, I think we should enjoy it while we can.
Yeah, I think I did.
But the problem is, I think that's black culture.
No, you make a great point.
Culture in general. So
yeah, it's just funny to watch. Like
you can either continue to hold fast to the meaning and to the life that it gave, or you can get frustrated by the fact that people who don't truly understand the meaning and the thought behind it, utilizing it and capitalizing off of it. I'm gonna stick on the side where I'm proud of the message and what it did. That way I don't get annoyed, because there's so much to be annoyed about. So yeah, I'd rather stay on the positive.
Mm-hmm.
But you do make a point. And then I'm gonna end it with this. I can't stand Sexy Red. Number one,
yeah,
she is bottom barrel. I mean, she's below the barrel. Like,
what did she do?
She performed, if that's what you want to call it. I understand. Let me just say this. I understand the urge to want to shake some ass. I get it. Okay. You want to turn up with your girls. You want to dance on your dude. You want to get tore up and have some fun. I get it. You want to be sexy. You know, you want to have fun. I am 1000% there. Okay. There are moments that I have in my life where I feel the exact same. But there is a difference between sexy and nasty. There's a difference between being real and being ratchet. And there's a difference between being ratchet and disgusting. And she's all the others. People talk about, oh, she's bringing the real to. No. She's talentless. She's not that cute. She's trifling. She has nothing to talk about. Everything she does is trifling. And y'all just big her up like she is the answer. She is the epitome of what white folk think of black folk. And y'all kill me with this shit when y'all talk about supporting her. Her music is trash. There are millions of other ratchet artists who aren't as gross as her and who have more talent. Bars are better. Meg Thee Stallion literally has been selling out left and right, and she talks about the same stuff with better bars, with a better flow. She looks better. God damn, I'm just so tired. I'm so tired of the Sexy Red fandom. It's disgusting. All her music is horrible, and I'm just irritated. You know how many times I literally, and I lie to you not, I have heard people that, oh, you trying to be like Sexy Red? Absolutely, that's an offense. That is an offense. Talking to other people, not to me, but talking to other people. Oh, you get your Sexy Red on. No, that is not a compliment. She is disgusting. And the fact that it's just sad. It is sad. We have such a sexualized, everything that's that is put out front is so sexualized. There are plenty of rappers, female rappers at that have great music, rock, who are not doing all these things. And yeah, sometimes you don't want to listen to the woke stuff. You don't want to listen to the stuff that makes you think. You just want the ratchet. You want the party music, but that's not the answer. She is not the answer. There are other artists. And I just wish, God, that we would wake up a little bit and stop promoting these trash artists, because it makes people it makes me angry. Let me say it like this. I have put a lot of work into my career, a lot of work into my craft, my talent, about my persona, how I present myself. And to know that there are girls out there who sing half as good as me, who have never put the true work in, who are farther than me, irritates my entire soul, because I put everything I can into my actual music. and I put everything I can into my talent to make sure that I am a decent person, a great role model, that someone can be proud of the legacy that I created. And there are women who are out there, there are men and women who are out there doing less work, have less talent, and are getting the most. It's so irritating. And every time I see her out, it just irritates my entire soul. And you can call it hate, you can call it whatever you want. All I know is I'm terrified of the young girls who look to her for voting advice, because they do. I'm terrified of the young girls who look to her for coochie advice, because she be giving that out. The ones who look to her for how you need to keep a man, because there's more to keeping a man than just laying it on him. There's way more. Any girl can lay it on him. So I'm just tired. I'm so tired.
I think that it's I understand why your red dot is pointed directly at her, but she is, in my opinion, just the ultimate version of what mainstream female hip hop has become, because there is no Ciroc in the mainstream like a Lauryn Hill, and they could be there.
Rhapsody.
And they're, yeah, Rhapsody, whoever you want to name, Moo Fresh. There are so many. And that is indicative, in my opinion, of what the industry wants to promote. And of what society honestly wants to digest. It's a balance of the two, because no one made you eat it, even though they kind of do always put it in your face. And she is one of many. I think it's a little bit unfair to kind of point out that she's not as physically attractive as Megan Thee Stallion, because in as much as she might have more bars, they both, it's all within that same thing. And you can say that she's the worst of the worst and the extra disgusting, but it's all the same thing. Like, it's great that Cardi is super cute and, super likable, but she's ratchet. That's her brand.
If you listen to
and
Cardi's
that's
first
the whole
album,
thing is the whole brand is ratchet, and she's maybe the pinnacle of it, but they're all in that same thing. And
they all have some, but they also, those two women have songs about real stuff. That's the other thing. What's catapulted into the forefront is the ratchet. But I've listened to their music, and there are songs with actual substance, but nobody talks about that. Nobody wants to talk about that. From what I've seen, Red Girl ain't had nothing of substance, and it was a hobby turned into fame. It was like, let me just throw my hat throw my hat in there, and she got lucky. So, I'm just tired. I'm really tired.
I know.
Okay, moving on. Oh, that's all we had. You wanted to talk about something, though.
Yeah, actually, to your point, this is actually a good segue. You were talking about how you, as an artist, spend a lot of hard work, or put in a lot of hard work and spend a lot of time trying to be the best you can be. Yes.
Can I say something really quickly?
Of course.
So I want to say this because I feel like, I'd say that I'm transparent and I say that I'm real. So I want to be real. There have been many times where I've gone on stage and I have messed up. There have been many times where I have wanted to work with people or attempted to work with someone, and things have fallen through because of me, because of family life, mental health, whatever. There are reasons why I haven't put music out. Me working hard is that I care about, truly care about the message and the
you have artistic integrity.
Yes, I have artistic integrity. Thank you for saying that, because that's what I was getting at, is that my artistic integrity is up here for me. Like, and also as a woman, an older sister, as a mother, as a role model, like, let me put this into perspective. When I walk in Jay's house, Ray is the sweetest. She loves me. And I love Ray. And she loves me because she likes my hair. She thinks that I sing pretty. She likes my clothes. Like, we have a connection that means a lot to me. I am a role model to her. And for me to act like that doesn't matter, for me to say, I ain't here to raise your kids, Jay. Like, I could care less. That's your job. That is the dumbest thing on the planet for me, because she is literally looking at me like, oh, I like that. And something I do may influence her. Those are the things that irritates me about a lot of these artists out here, is that y'all have no artist integrity. You have no real morals, and you don't care about them babies that are looking up to you, because they do. They look up to you. We're not looking up to, I wasn't looking up to my mom. You know, I was looking up at Beyonce. I was looking up at Missy Elliott. You know, I was looking at Music Soul Child. That's who I was looking up to. So we can pretend like our youth don't matter. We can pretend that the perception that we put out doesn't truly matter, and that it's all about the money, all about the money. But at the end of the day, when you lay your head to that bed, there are things that are going to cross your mind, and those should be the things that should cross your mind. So there we go.
Which is why, especially as the music industry is changing dramatically and everything is becoming more independent and it's becoming more and more of a Wild West in some ways, I just have been having this thought recently about really changing the perception of what it means to be local, because I think when you say local artists, your first association might be like just kind of small time,
right,
low quality,
right,
you know, just average, run of the mill, whatever. And I know for a fact at this point that the local artists that I work with are not that. They might not have a Grammy and a big hit and millions of dollars, but their artistic quality is world class. And so when you think about a Dogfish Head beer, that is a local beer coming specifically from Delaware, when you think about like a local, you could talk about this like a local crop or a local vintage of a wine.
Brouhaha.
You know,
their own
local regional coffee. I'm a coffee dork. I want my coffee from specific regions in Ethiopia.
Furniture. Down south, there's a specific company that makes furniture.
Amish furniture.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? All of these local things that are high quality, I really perceive myself as that. I write good songs. I sing well. And I think the more that local artists fundamentally try to maintain high integrity and create quality work, there's a large potential to build a high quality culture within any small city. And specifically, I'm talking about Wilmington and also the state of Delaware. Think about Jimmy Allen. Think about the musicians who are involved with him down there right now. Think about Split Faces.
Sharon and Q.
Think about Sharon and Q. We could go on. It's world-class talent that doesn't have a world-class spotlight, but the budget.
That's the other thing.
But the more that we see ourselves as high value, without getting big at the britches, you know, without being arrogant. Like, I know, again, I always say it, I don't sing as good as Layla Hathaway. I understand that. I'm not saying I'm the world's greatest singer.
You sing as good as Jay Street.
But I sing very well. And I can sing better than a lot of people who are popular, right? So the more that your local artists focus and create and see themselves for their worth, we have a potential to create a really different dynamic and change that perception of local in a way that we can leverage it for our own benefit and for the benefit of the greater community.
Yes, I 1000% agree. I remember someone said, like, they don't want to perform in this area because they don't want to oversaturate themselves. And it's sad that they had to think like that, because there are venues and organizations and people here who won't book people because they're like, oh no, they just performed over there. Well, if they're good enough, what is the problem?
You have, I'm going way back.
You're going to continue to go back to Give me a restaurant. This is no particular. Okay, Santa Fe. You gonna keep going back to Santa Fe because you like their nachos. You like their cucumber spicy margarita.
I have never in my life been like, well, that's enough Sharon and Q. Tired of hearing that voice.
Never. I've never had enough Darnell.
Well, I'm tired of this guacamole from Santa Fe. That's enough of that. If it's quality, it won't oversaturate. You're absolutely correct, especially if the artist is doing their job of continually creating. And here's the thing. You have local artists in places like Memphis, New Orleans, they more or less stay there and just create dope music and become local legends, you know, and they just work. Yep. New Orleans is way bigger, relatively speaking. But this region, like if you maximized your potential between New York and DC, that's all you need. And if you want to go further, have at it.
That's still local.
It's really local. So
I mean, we talked to a local legend, Hez Davis.
Yes.
Known all over Philly, in Delaware, DC,
and he's
Baltimore,
so
New York.
unique, and he's always evolving. So he's not going to saturate anything. It's like you want this the same way. Like, okay, look at Kendrick Lamar. He's like, no one stopped. He's everywhere, and he hasn't saturated anything. No one's. If he can continue to do shows in LA every single night, and people will keep summing. No one said that's enough, Kendrick. We've had enough of you.
There are always going to be people who don't know them. There are always going to be people who don't know those artists. Always. No matter.
As you evolve, you want to see the change.
Yes, you want to. And it's also supporting. Support, like you want people to come and support your business, but you also have to remember you have to support others' business. We have to collaborate. That's the other thing. It's also in the spirit of collaboration, you know? Oh God, it's just so much. There's so much.
Want to talk about the so much that's going on this week?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I'll pull them up.
Yes. What's going on? Where can we go?
Start with the Hummingbird.
Oh, Hummingbird. Okay. So they have a food truck and their cuisine. Oh my God. Like my mom literally be like, is Hummingbird going to be there?
Yep.
What about Hummingbird?
Yep.
So they finally today are opening at 1 p.m. to celebrate the grand opening of Hummingbird Island Cuisine.
Mm-hmm.
This is at 723 North King Street. So
right there, it's a good location too.
Yes. So if you are interested, which I think you should be because their food is amazing.
Yeah.
Go over there, 723 North King Street.
Mm-hmm.
And the Big Bounce, Wilmington, Delaware, Big Bounce America 2024. It is a huge bouncy house park.
Mm-hmm.
Like my body kind of hurts thinking about it.
Oh my gosh, you old decrepit. Close that. Keep going.
My body hurts thinking about it, but I can also think about how much fun it will be. So that's July 5th to July 7th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I believe if you go on Facebook, they have specific adult nights or adult days. So go ahead and check that out.
Next,
and we have this Wednesday starting at 6 p.m. the Open Mic Jam session for Delaware Music Network at the library.
The library. Bang bang.
Excuse me. The West Side Farmers Market, Cool Spring Park, and this is all the way through October. Wednesdays from 3:30 to 6:30 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the Rodney Reservoir Community Garden Design Session, Tuesday, July 2nd from 6 to 8 p.m. at St. Francis Hospital.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a really cool thing because it's another example of the importance of participating in your local government, if you will, and participating in your community. Mm-hmm. Halfway off topic to this point, though, the legislation that was being put up regarding how people are allowed to protest that got tabled. And it's basically because people were speaking up and getting involved like, So again, this is just another example of why it's really important to be involved.
This next event, I will be in the building with my girls. A Sweet Touch LLC presents Prom Reimagined 2024. Saturday, July 6th from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. Tickets are $75. 415 Philadelphia Pike, 21 and up. I will be dressed to the nines in my gown because I am going to try and become prom queen. There will be a prom king and queen. So just put that out there. If you come in, vote for you, girl. Then we have, my goodness, Northside Food and Culture Market. This weekend will be at North Wilmington Library, which is at 3400 North Market Street, every other Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m.
Anything else? Let me see here.
We have a lot. Princess and Heroes, Part of Your World. Oh my goodness. Part of Your World Royal Events. Sorry.
You're
July 5th, 6 to 8 p.m. Del M&S is partnering with So Classy Royal Events to create a series of Princesses and Heroes events where famous characters share their love and knowledge of nature and science. $7 for members, 3 and up, $3 for members. Just go online and register.
That's it.
No, that's not it.
That's all I have.
No.
That's all I have.
Oh yeah, it is it.
Yep.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, dang, there we go. That's all I got. So, yeah. It's been an interesting couple weeks, and I'm glad that we're able to talk about things with you guys. Jay has been getting punched in the face with all of my complaints and anger, and I just want to say thank you for that because you handle it so well. Because I will call him at 9 a.m. talk about, and he just goes, well, and then he gives me his suggestions, but you do really well at that.
I think it's important to be aware of the things that frustrate you so that you have, again, like a path for things that you want to change.
Yeah.
But it's just also talking about balance, equally important to appreciate a lot of the positive things that are also happening, which are present. So
yes,
yeah.
And there are a lot of positives. I'm very proud of Naj and Jay. I'm very proud of what we do, what we bring to the community, and I'm very proud of the people who support us and the ability to collaborate with people. So,
like, and I'll stop here. Like, yep, Sexy Red is pretty gross at a certain point. But at the same time, you know, you have Rhapsody and she's making dope music and she might not be in the middle of the Grammys right now. But she's making good music and people are enjoying it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you guys check out later this week. We're doing an interview with the CEO of Brown Girls Rock. We will be hosting the event this year.
I gotta get my cowboy hat.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
July 20th. And we're going to post an interview with her and with some of her board members. And we're really excited for this year's events. So yeah, we'll see you later this week. Bang, bang, bang.